The issue with having two major audiences is that now you get to repeat topics. And so this week is accountability week for community updates. And I was like, hey, our podcast audience needs to know about that too, because it is a great one. So if you want to see like the community update version of it, head to our LinkedIn page and watch it. But in the meantime, for those of you who digest our podcast, this is a good topic for anybody, no matter what industry you're in, talking about your own personal accountability, your clients' accountability, and how to align them, because you care about different things than your client does. You care about different things than the person across the table from you does. And if you don't align those, then both parties can end up feeling frustrated, because I'm holding Skip accountable to keeping the counters clean. He's holding himself accountable for vacuuming. And, I am holding myself accountable to feeding the dogs, and Skip is holding me accountable for changing the tires on the car.
Yeah.
We're both working hard, but we both feel like the other one isn't doing anything.
Yep. And that, there was a really poignant point in my career where I learned this, and I was working for an oil and gas company, and we traveled a lot. I learned to kind of enjoy it, the company plane and all those little perks that came with it. Became a real road warrior for a while. But I went to one of our field offices in the middle of Wyoming. The dead middle of Wyoming, and spent a few days up there working really hard. It's kind of a tough environment. So just a lot going in there that makes it a kind of a challenging place to work. Did a lot of really good stuff, hard, some long hours, almost pulled a muscle, patting myself on the back at the great job I did. Got back on the plane and came back to the divisional office. And the following morning, my supervisor came in, closed the door behind him. He's like, uh-oh, this isn't good. And it was like, you really messed up on this trip up to Wyoming. And I'm like, what? You got to be kidding me. That was a fantastic, I got a million things done, extra things. And I didn't communicate with some of the other people. I didn't check in on some things. And it was just such a eye-opener for me, in that all the really great work that I was doing did not meet their expectations of what I was. And it was just different. It wasn't that my work was bad or subpar. It's just the goals were different. And if you don't align with those goals, it doesn't matter how great you can do a task, how fast, how technically adept you are. If you don't meet their expectations, it's a failure. End of story.
And that's those surface area values, right? If I can coin a term here, is that you go, and every engineer knows this feeling, but you go to a site, you do a billion things. You actually get a lot of work done that needs to be done, but it's not visible. Yeah. And there are some things that are visible. Like if I walk in if I'm a director of IT and I walk in and I see a closet that is a spaghetti mess, you're going to hear about it.
Yep.
No, do you not need
okay. I get it. All right. I like that.
You may have worked your butt off that day reconfiguring those switches and walked on water solving a problem. If I see that mess on the wiring, because that's a pet peeve of mine, because I have spent so many years cleaning up those things and having hours of my life just wasted tracing down cables because somebody didn't clean up after themselves. And I'll be like, why didn't you do this? But I did all these other things.
No.
This is what I see. And so that perceived value that everybody chases, if I just work harder, my client, my spouse, my friend, or my boss will see my value. No, you got to pay attention to those surface area things. We're all icebergs. You only see 10% of what we actually do. Make sure that 10% counts, though. And, we talked in our community update, like about the counters in my house. Like I like the counters in my house to be cleaned off. It makes me feel good. My kids like to smear jelly, as they're making their bread in the morning and their sandwiches. And it makes a mess all over the place. I'm like, stop setting the thing, or at least wipe it down when you're done. Because then it ends up that crusty on there and I got to scrub it off.
Yeah.
I am not a neat freak by far. Like I throw things on the floor, it doesn't bother me too much. I'll pick it up later. But if you have like a countertop and it's the first thing I see when I walk in the door and it's all messy, it's grimy, it bugs me. So you can clean the whole house. You can have all the floors vacuumed. And if that countertop in the kitchen is dirty, it's just like, and Andrea has her own things too. And so over marriage, you kind of learn that there's these things that if you have this thing done, your spouse will forgive you for so much. And, there's things that are assumed. I will mow the lawn. I love mowing the lawn. It doesn't matter. I'll get that done whether you ask me to or not. I like lawn maintenance. It's enjoyable to me, but I don't get much kudos for doing the lawn. I mean, Andrea appreciates it and it needs to be done, but not as much as I get for, say, waxing and cleaning all the wood floors or, making sure the laundry is done. Like these little things are big items and we each do our own things. So what is it your client needs you to be held accountable to so that you can increase your perceived value? Let's flip the script here. What does your client care about? So in Skip's case, he did all this work and he was in trouble when he got back. And I've done the same thing where like I reduced back in the early 2000s, I had to reduce PC deployment down from a week or two to a matter of hours. And the perceived value there was that I reset expectations that I would have a PC to somebody's desk in like 4 hours. That started getting me in trouble.
Right.
Because then yourself. I was the only technician for 500 miles and across the entire state of Nebraska. And as we got more and more PCs, I started slowing down. They're like, Adam's lazy.
Yeah.
Like he just doesn't do anything. Like that's how I learned that perceived value matters. And you increase perceived value by holding yourself accountable to what your client's needs are. Right. And you ask them, hey, what means a lot to you? And it might be that it means a lot to me when you respond to my emails within an hour. It means a lot to me when you come on site and say hi. It means a lot to me when I don't see you. These are different things. It means a lot to me when you wear a suit or when you're on time to meetings. Find out what those things are and hold yourself accountable.
Yeah. And I think that, I don't know. So I'm the details guy, right? And, I want to figure things out. And I think I approached this early on trying to myself determine what someone wanted, right? I'm going to come in, I'm going to evaluate the situation. I'm going to, prioritize these items, and then I'm going to hit all those expectations. Well, that in some cases you may be able to do that, but that's way too much work. Just come in and ask your clients, ask whoever you're working with, what is important in this, and they'll line it out. It makes it super easy. And then if you need more information, whatever, you can dig in there. But, that will easily set the expectations that you're looking for without you trying to figure out what they are. This is not some huge data mining exercise where you go in and uncover, some sort of hidden truth. It's plain and simple.
Yep. And what's really nice about this is that it kind of follows this PBO format, this performance-based organization format, where when you set an accountability metric that is meaningful, your employees feel more valued. Mm-hmm. Because now they feel like they're contributing to an overall goal rather than just coming in, fixing tickets, and walking home. Some people will get great value out of that. Your process-driven employees will. But in general, to feel valued, a employee needs to feel like they're helping contribute to an overall goal. So in your MSP, you need to make it super clear, what are you trying to accomplish this year? And then align your employees with how are they contributing to that so they feel valued. So if your goal is you're going to add 5 new customers a quarter or a month, whatever it is, then your employees say, hey, how are you going to help us get to 5 new customers? And it might be a level 1 text of, well, I really don't talk to new people very often, but what I can do is I've got 3 other hospitals I volunteer at. I can bring us up there.
Yeah.
And they feel like they're contributing. Or maybe they can say, hey, while I'm on site with people, we can do referrals, whatever it is. And they feel like they're contributing. And when you talk to your client and they say, and you ask them, what are their biggest sources of revenue this year? Or what are your biggest risks? And they answer with one of those like, hey, we're really trying to open a new office down in South Lincoln. And we want to make sure that that transitions smoothly so we don't have to duplicate staff. Well, let's help you build that out. Right. Mm-hmm. And so now you're contributing to their success. And then your engineers are contributing to their success. And you're holding them accountable. Did you get that South location built out? Is it got a VPN going between the two? Or are you got them on some kind of WAN? And are you solving those problems? And yeah, I got a great solution for them. I think this is going to help them a lot. It falls within budget. It gets them exactly what they want. And then bam, there you go. And so now your employee feels valued. And when some other MSP says, hey, we want this engineer to come work for us, I know, man, I love working with all my clients. I can't leave my clients.
Yeah.
There's that relationship there. Yeah. If I leave, then this dentist office is going to have a hard time because I've been working with them so hard on these projects and growing their company. I want to see this through to the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
And really cool. That loyalty, that's where accountability helps. A lot of people use accountability wrong and they try to hold like, oh, you need to close 50 tickets today.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't close 50 tickets and they slap them with a warning.
Right.
That's not accountability.
Now, what we've been talking about is the really important part. What you touched on, Adam, I think is a step deeper, and I want to go in there because it's a really cool one, but it's a depersonalized accountability.
Yeah.
And it works great as long as you have the other things that we've been talking about in place first. All right. Well, maybe not first. I guess there could be a transition where you're building up to it, but recognize there is a difference in the more relational, personal element and the tactical process. So if you have a project on the roadmap with your clients, why are they going to do that?
Yep.
Are we solving some sort of problem? Are we mitigating a risk? Are we helping their business grow? Right? It probably needs to fall into one of those 3 categories. And if they are, then let's explain that out a little bit. How's it going to help them grow? Is it going to enable them to reach more people? Is it a new phone system that enables them to, make outbound calls at I don't know. There's lots of details that go in that, but those are great metrics to identify for why you want to do those projects. Now, here's where the real technical nerds, can kind of get a little uneasy is like, I don't know what their call volume needs to be. I don't know how many, lines they're going to expect to have for all this sort of stuff. You don't need to know that. All right. You're going to be able to work with your client to build those goals out.
Yeah.
We kind of talked about this a little bit yesterday in the community update, and I really liked it. It's an ability to make your clients a bit accountable to some of these expectations as well.
Yep.
All right. If you're delivering these great solutions and they don't pan out, is it all your fault? Or does your client share some responsibility in this? And when you get to the table and you get to collaborate with them so that you're both invested in this, you're both working on it, you're both accountable to the results, that's a real partnership. Right. Yep. And your client's not going to be able to sit down and go, oh, you convinced me to buy that project and it's worthless. I can't get anything out of that. All right. Why can't they get anything out of it? I mean, they should be putting something into it. So if they come back and go, I'm not getting what I thought I would get out of it. I tried this and it's not working out. Well, now you've got more opportunities to grow and do things with them. But it doesn't have to be all on you. All right. Mm-hmm. Accountability can be shared with your clients as long as the goals are both aligned to help their business out, to help them grow.
Yeah.
Right? That's when the accountability can come in and really take off and be something more than what we typically think it is.
Yeah. And this is universally applicable, people. This is not a business theory. I mean, you can get into how this is applied, but you read books like The Five Love Languages, and it explains this really well. It's
Mhm.
it's a Christian book on how there's different ways to show love to people and how they receive it. And it is an amazing book on just people. I tell anybody who wants to understand people, read this book, and understand that everybody receives value differently.
Yes.
And when you talk to your spouse, you talk to your kids, each of them value things differently. So, you've got coworkers who are hurt when you don't ask them out for a beer. You've got coworkers that are hurt when you ask them out for a beer, but they just want to go home and they want
which way do you go?
they want quiet time.
Yeah.
That you just need to understand. You got some clients who want you to go on site and show your face. They want you to give them a phone call, and they want you to give them an update in person. You got other clients who said, just give me a report.
Yeah.
Understand what they find valuable and make that part of your value prop to your clients, where you can say, we communicate in the way that you want to be talked to.
Yes.
We don't prescribe, we value our clients. And it's not a complicated thing. You don't need to go through a huge coaching program, complicated 60-step process to get here. It's just simply ask your client, what does success look like for you? Yeah. What is your revenue? What is your risk? Yeah. And put that at the top in our software. We have that title in the top of every client. What is their number one goal? So that everybody at your MSP is working towards that goal.
Yes.
And that is how you hold your clients accountable. Like, did you help them get here? When you buy a new server, is it helping them get here? No, it needs to be done. Why? And start driving those conversations. It's very simple.
Yep.
It's frustrating, but it's simple. And
it is
holding accountability to your client's expectations, not your expectations. You can do both, but understand that the client's expectations are going to get you a lot more value.
Yeah. Let me throw a little bit of warning in here, though. If you ask your client, if you go down this road and they tell you what is important to them, you need to listen to that.
Yeah.
You need to document that, and you need to follow up on that. Because if they tell you this is really important to me, and then you ignore them and you don't take care of what's really important to them, that is going to hurt more than them going, I guess they just don't know what's important. I guess I just haven't told them, they don't understand what's really important to me. If they feel that you do understand and then you don't, that's a real slap in the face.
Yeah.
So make sure that you communicate with your team and that you keep this visible in some way. It can be super simple. What we're talking about is not, like Adam said, it's not this complex process. You just need to listen and then make sure you've got that noted somewhere. Our tool has a great place for it, but if it's someplace else, it doesn't matter. Just make sure that you keep that objective in mind and you're working towards that. And your client understands that you're trying. Maybe you aren't able to do all the things that they really want done, but if you're able to communicate your effort, if they see you trying, they're really trying to do what I want them to do, they will be very understanding. They will appreciate the effort many, many more times than they will appreciate all the other things you're doing with what seems like no effort in what's important to them. So follow up on this.
This falls up on the very basic principle. Active listening. Mm-hmm. I hear what you're saying is that you want to do this. And then 2, a carrot works better than a stick.
Yeah.
And to mess that up, we're like, oh, a carrot, right? And so you dangle a carrot in front of the kid and they say, hey, look, follow the carrot. And the kid's like, screw that. I'm going for the Snickers over here.
That's right.
Why aren't they following my carrot? People told me, I read this huge report. I went through this class. It says, if you put a carrot on a stick, people will follow it.
Yep.
And it's like, you got the literal interpretation of the lesson.
Right. Now, all the pictures I've seen of always a donkey.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. We're not all donkeys. So what is the carrot that your client cares about that they're going to chase?
Yep.
And well, my client doesn't know. I know what they want. I hate when MSPs say that. Do not say that to your client. That's how you lose clients.
Yep.
They will tolerate you until something better comes along.
That's true. That's true.
And so if you walk into them and say, what is it you care about? Like, not from a technology standpoint. Tell me about your business. Tell me about what's going on. I really want to make sure you're getting technology solutions that are solving problems for you. And they may say the craziest crap. They may something that you absolutely 100% say, I don't like that.
Yeah.
But start there. So what I hear you saying is you want to do this at your company. Here's how I can help. And you start that way. And eventually they'll start listening to your input, but you have to hear them first. Hold yourself accountable and hold them accountable. Like, hey, you wanted to do this. Here are the things I did that are going to help you move in that direction. And they find out it's not working. Okay, let's adjust then. Which direction you want to adjust to. Like Skip and I, as leading Humanize IT, we're adjusting all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We try to make small changes, not big ones.
Yep.
And so that we're honing our direction. And over time, these changes become more and more minute as we get better and better at what we're doing. Mm-hmm. And then, Skip and I are incentivized like, the profits are going up, yeah, let's keep doing that. Let's do more of that.
Yeah.
We're all in line. And the advantage is we're both incentivized. We're both happy. We both feel like we're contributing. Skip had a huge win this week and he feels like contributing to the company.
Yeah.
And it's great. But if you're just here to sit in a seat and get a job and you're not held accountable to anything, you're just going to pass the hours away until somebody gives you a better paycheck.
Yep.
But if you feel like you're contributing to a company, if you're contributing to the clients, your value, your self-value, and the value to your clients is going to exceed any kind of pay stub, any kind of paycheck. So when you go and ask for that, you increase your rates, they're not going to care as much. They'll still do their due diligence, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But if you just came in there and were a break fix and you're just working on your own stuff without showing that value, without holding yourself accountable to your clients' values, you know what? You just became a low-cost solution.
Yeah.
So find the things that your clients care about. Find the things that your employees care about. Communicate your own values, and then hold yourself accountable to those in a positive way. And as Skip was pointing out, actively listen. Repeat back to your client. I hear you saying that you want to accomplish this year. Okay, I'm going to try to pick projects and technologies that are going to help you with that. In the meantime, I'll keep the grass mode on the back end. We'll keep the lights on. And everything will keep running because we're good at what we do. But I want to help you. I'm going to put these in front of you.
Yep. Setting those expectations, listening to them, that's going to deepen those relationships with your client. That's what you really want.
Definitely. Well, this is a great topic. I know we talked about this in community updates. So for some of you, this is a repeat. But I really want to get this out to the podcast because we have a lot of podcast listeners out there. And I think this is a great one that is universally applicable, no matter if you are a dentist, a pharmacist, a mechanic, everything. The people you talk to, you need to understand what they value, even if it's different than your own, so that you can help them.
Yeah. So we're early in the year. I know we're starting new habits, new processes. If you haven't done already, make that a priority on all of your agenda items, your agendas and your meetings going forward, to make sure you understand what's important to your clients this year. And that can be just a really productive, it's 5 minutes, right? But just make sure that you're having that conversation with your clients so that you know for certain what is important to them. And that will help the rest of your year, and your clients will see the value in what you're doing there.
Okay. Definitely. I love this topic. We'll revisit again probably later this year, probably around third quarter, holding you accountable to, did you do what you promised to this year?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that'd be great. So you want to feel good in Q3, you need to do some things right now, and then we'll set you up for success then.
All right. Well, I'll talk to everyone later. Thank you. Bye.